Hi. Have you ever wondered what your deceased loved one never told you? Family secrets. Every family has them. Do tell. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Kimberly Ivory Graves, your help. Holistic Elite Legacy Planner, aka Help Me Kimberly. I am also the author of Leaving Peace and Order, which is a step-by-step guide to getting your affairs in order. If you are interested in getting a copy of my book, please go to my website, helpmekimberly.com, and order your copy. And while you're there, the book has an accompanying workbook. We have the mini-size workbook, and we also have the full-size workbook, or the worksheets are on the flash drive. So when placing your order, select the one that you want. This is a Living Peace and Order show where we will share tips to a life of love and peace through Jesus Christ and steps to getting your affairs in order. Before we get started in the show, do me a favor. Why don't you hit that like button and also share with someone, tag someone. This information, I believe, will be helpful to you and your family. So please do me a favor. Don't just watch it. Don't be stingy. Share this information with others. Let your family, let your friends know that the Living Peace and Order show is sharing very, very good information. Also, if you're on my YouTube channel, please hit that subscribe button or the notification button so that you will not miss any shows. Well, let's get started. Our scripture for this week is found in John 16, verse 33. And it reads, "These things I have spoken unto you, that in me ye might have peace. In the world ye shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world." And this is Jesus speaking, and that verse was found again in John 16, verse 33. I just wanted to kind of tell you a little bit about the Living Peace and Order show. It's broken up into two segments, and one segment is the peace aspect, and that is where we talk about 52 weeks of peace. So we will be sharing through the course of 52 weeks a different scripture that pertains to peace. Thus our scripture for the week. And this is aired every Saturday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time on Clubhouse. So I invite you to join us every Saturday. And then the order aspect of the show is what you're viewing now. It is where we talk about getting your affairs in order. And this show is aired every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook and on YouTube. So please make sure you join us. You don't want to miss an episode. Well, enough with the announcements. Our topic today is family secrets. Every family has them, and do tell. Well, the other day I ran across an old article on Facebook, and the article was talking about how after 50 years, Oprah Winfrey found out that she had a sister. So, and the story went on to tell that Oprah was 8 years old and she lived with her father, and they didn't know that she didn't know that her mom was pregnant. And this was like in 1963 when her half-sister was born. And so literally 50 years later, Oprah finds out that her mom had this child. And her mom basically said that she was on welfare and she couldn't afford to take care of another child. And so she left the child at the hospital and gave the child up for adoption. So later, as the child was grown, her name is Patricia. When Patricia got grown, she began to seek out her family members, her biological siblings, her family, her mother, I guess, and her father, or what have you. And she eventually found out that Oprah Winfrey was her half sister. And she didn't want to find out to exploit Oprah or say, I got a famous sister or anything, but she just wanted to find out who her biological parents were. And so they met and they were able to form a relationship and so on and so forth. And I thought about this story, and I every family, I'm sure, has experienced some type of family secret. I was also watching a television show the other night, and the show basically was, in the show, there was a young man, 22-year-old young man who was adopted, but was in search for his biological parents. And he ended up in this town, and he found out who his mother was. And she kind of was shocked that, he had found her. And the dynamics of the story was she got pregnant at the age of 16. She never told the boy who got her pregnant that she was pregnant. And her mom and the boy's mom made her give the child away. And so her mom had such a stronghold on her. Even when she came to her mom and told her that, her son, her now 22-year-old son had come and found her, her mom was like, send him away. You don't want to open up another can of worms. You don't want to start, anything. But she stood up to her mom and she was like, no, I want to have a relationship with my son. And so that's how the story went. And I share this because family secrets not only hurt the individuals that are making the decisions, but it's a long-lasting effect on those that are involved, the child, the parents involved, and so on and so forth. And so I share this to encourage you to deal with the family secrets in your life. And before I go any further, I just wanted to share my personal experience as it relates to family secrets. I'm reminded of a time, I think I may have been maybe a freshman or sophomore in high school. And this particular day, I think I may have been home by myself, or Amy may have been home with me, and the phone rings. And I answered the phone, and this woman realizes me, and she just begins to go off, and she says, Bobby is not your father. Tell your mom to tell you that he is not your father. And she just, I don't know what else she said, and she hung up. And so I stood there stunned. I wasn't stunned because, I didn't know that Bobby wasn't my father. For somehow I knew that he wasn't my biological father. But I was stunned because here this grown woman, had the audacity to call my house and actually speak to a child. I mean, I was a freshman. I was a young girl at this time. And, she was being so spiteful and vindictive that she felt like she was letting the cat out of the bag by telling me a deep, dark secret that Bobby was not my biological father. But my mom had I don't remember when or how it was disclosed to me that, but it was way before this woman called, that I knew that I was that Bobby had adopted me and given me his name when I was 2 years old. So it was no secret. I'm my mom's only child, and she raised my cousin Amy, who at the age of 18 months, her mom was killed in a car accident, my mom's sister. And so my mom raised Amy and I together as sisters. And I also have a half brother and 3 younger half sisters by my biological father. So, there are a lot of dynamics going on, even in my life and in my story. But I just want to say one thing that, if I can interject, is that no matter how the child gets here, whether it be untimely pregnancy or illegitimacy or rape or whatever, that child belongs to God. And God has a purpose and a plan for that child. And I'm reminded of a scripture in Jeremiah 1:5. It says, "Before I formed you in the belly, I knew you. And before you came forth out of the womb, I sanctified you, I ordained you to be a prophet unto the nations." So the Lord knows each and every one of us. You know, I don't know what the circumstances were for how you were born. Maybe you were born into a loving family, a loving home, with a mother and father that loved you. Maybe you were born to a mother that was on drugs, or, and you were labeled a crack baby, or whatever the circumstances are. God has a purpose and a plan for your life. Well, let me get back to my story. My mom and Bobby were married for 14 years. He was stationed in Barbados for about 3.5 years. And so we literally lived in Barbados for 3.5 years. Then afterwards, he came back to Illinois, retired, and became an insurance man. And so I believe as a child, we had a pretty good life. And I remember Bobby, my mom saying Bobby handled all the household affairs. So he paid the bills, he managed the checking account, he managed the savings accounts, he managed the insurance and all of that. But shortly after, we got back from Barbados, and, a few years went on, I was in high school, and my parents separated and they got a divorce. And it was kind of devastating to watch my mom go through what she went through the course of, this divorce. And one time we were in a car accident. And now I told you that Bobby was an insurance agent. So by this time they weren't together, and my mom had to reach out to him because of the car accident that we had. But we were in a car accident. It was me, my mom, and Amy. And we had just stopped at the fish market and got some fried shrimp, the shrimp that they give you in the little brown bag. Well, we had our shrimp, and we were on our way to the Glen Rock beverage store. And for those of you who live in Waukegan, Illinois, back in the day, there was this place where you could go get the pop bottles, and you would go buy it and you get the case, and then you had to bring the bottles back. Well, anyway, we were on our way to the Glen Rock beverage store, and we were actually in the right-hand lane, but we had to turn and cross the left-hand lane to go into the area right in front of the parking lot of the store. And as we were waiting our turn to be able to turn, my mom had her signal on, and we were waiting. My mom looked in the rearview mirror, and she just calmly said, "We are about to be hit." And we couldn't react, because when she said it, boom, we were hit. And literally, we were hit from behind. And because my mom was in the process of turning, we crossed over the lane and went right through the Glen Rock beverage front door. It was a glass door, glass window, glass door, and we went right through it. And I tell you, we saw the hand of God, his miracle, not only for us, but there was a little girl that was literally standing at the door. But when she saw the car coming toward her, she ran away. And so she was unhurt. And we got out literally with hardly any scratches, just minor scratches, but no major hurt. And we were hit by a drunk driver, and it was him and 3 other individuals in the vehicle, and they got out the car, throwing their beer bottles, on the side of the road and what have you. So after going through this traumatic experience, my mom had to contact Bobby to get the insurance information. And I don't know how that conversation went, but it was a couple days later that this woman called the house to tell me. Well, she thought she was telling me something that I didn't know, but as I explained, I did know. She called to tell me that, Bobby was not my father. And, I thought about that someone could be, and I know people do things out of hurt, out of spite, out of jealousy, out of vindictiveness, and all of that. And through the course of me living a saved life, God has taught me the power of forgiveness, the power of looking at situations and circumstances from the other person's view, And so to this day, I can say that I forgive that woman, and I just want you to stop and think about, are there secrets in your life, in your family? Are you privy to information that could be devastating to someone? Or have you been told something that's devastating and you don't know how to deal with it? Do you have issues as it relates to having had children, or given up a child for adoption and wondering where that child is, or wondering whether that child is looking for you? Or are you that child that's looking for your biological parent? It is time to deal with the family secrets. Family secrets are so hurtful and harmful, and they tend to come out as soon as someone passes. So I encourage you, as a part of the living peace and order process, that you really kind of sit down with your loved ones, have that discussion, reveal certain things. You might be surprised. They may not react the way that you think they may react. They may react in a positive, loving manner. They may act in a forgiving manner. You'll never know unless you deal with that issue. And also think about what would happen, what would be the consequences if you don't reveal it, and what would be the consequences if you do. I guess you really wouldn't know until you dealt with it. But don't let it come out after you're gone, where you could have dealt with it, you could have explained. A lot of things happen, especially back in the day where your children would have, young girls would get pregnant and be forced to give up their child. And they may not have wanted to give up their child, but because, they couldn't afford to take care of it, their parents may have forced them. So there's so many dynamics to certain circumstances and situations. And so I encourage you to deal with the family secrets. Don't let them stay hidden. Deal with them. Have that discussion. Write it down. Write a letter. Include it in your binder. But deal with the family secrets. I'm going to stop right there. This is the Living Peace and Order Show, where we give tips to a life of love and peace through Jesus Christ and steps to getting your affairs in order. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kimberly Ivory Graves. God bless you, and I love you with the love of Jesus.